Hi everybody, welcome to Gentle Yoga Flow with Dan, part of the JCC online mind-body program. And I want to thank you for joining me again this time. If you've joined me in the past, if this is the first time you're joining me, then welcome. This is a Gentle Yoga Flow. We tend to go fairly slowly through poses. We hold poses for multiple breaths, and I want to give everybody a chance to really get into the pose, stay there, feel the pose, experience the pose, take your time. And today we'll be starting out with a bunch of standing poses, and we'll go onto the mat for a little bit. If you have a block, a pillow, a blanket, a book, something that you can use to help support yourself in some of the poses, if you have that handy, that's great. If not, it's no big deal. You don't need it. Just something that we'll use, but if you don't have it, I'll give you ways to work around it. So, we start today like we do in all our sessions with a seated, starting in a seated position. And I like to sit on a block, so if you have a pillow or a book or blanket, something to elevate your hips a little bit, makes being seated a little bit easier, makes it a little bit easier to keep the back nice and straight and upright. And so we'll start today by coming into a nice seated position. Really, as you start to come into this pose, just find a comfortable seated position that you can be in. Any seated position that you can be comfortable in is really the important thing. I like to sit on a block and have my knees kind of wide and let my feet don't really cross. So they're both down on the mat. I find that comfortable, but really it's up to you to find a comfortable seated position. And once you're seated, see if you can first start by closing your eyes and rock back and forth a little bit, just feeling those bones at the bottom of your pelvis, your sitting bones. Sort of feel that they're there. Know that, really, if you rock back, you're going to feel them. And then you're going to stop rocking and really start to find a sense of pressing down into whatever you're sitting on with those sitting bones, pressing them into the floor, into the block, into the blanket, whatever it is. And then as you press down with the sitting bones, you want to find a lifting sensation coming up from your abdomen, around your belly button, maybe a little lower, so those belly muscles down here. You want to feel that lift coming up out of the pelvis, out of the hips. So you have a sense of pressing down and lifting. And this is a very common experience in yoga where we press down to lift up. By pressing in, we give ourselves some leverage to lift up. So we're seated here. We're pressing our sitting bones down. We're lifting up out of the hips. And then take a moment here and just notice how you're breathing. And just notice the difference between a moment ago, before I mentioned breathing, and what happens when you start thinking about it. So we normally go through our day-to-day, our work, our life, without really concentrating on breathing at all. And so in our yoga class, we're going to switch from that unconscious state of really not thinking about our breathing into a much more conscious state of breathing. And so as you're sitting here, take a nice long inhale as you press your sitting bones down into the block and lift up from your belly button. Let the inhale lift you up even higher, raising up through the crown of your head, so that you have a nice long spine. And then as you exhale, through your nose or mouth, whichever you prefer, see if you can maintain as much of that lift that you got on your inhale. And at the same time, we're going to start to work on trying to match our exhale to the length of our inhale, so that ultimately our exhales are nice and slow, just like our inhales are nice and slow. And so we'll start by taking a nice long inhale to lift up, and exhale to let it all out. And just start to come into a nice regular breathing pattern like this, where you're inhaling up, maybe counting 3 or 4 moments into the breath as you lift up, and then matching the exhale to that same length, maybe counting to find the rhythm for yourself. It doesn't have to be exact, but we want to have this sense where our inhales and exhales are close to the same length. And then bring your palms together at your heart center, allowing the steady breath to continue. And as you're sitting here breathing, pressing into the block and lifting up and all those actions, take a moment also to bring an intention to your practice today. Whatever that intention might be, it's really your own personal choice. It could be something to do with your practice. It might have something completely unrelated to your practice today. It's whatever you need it or want it to be. Something you want to do, something you've been thinking about, whatever that is, it doesn't matter. Just bring intention to it. Bring a sense of thought and care and interest into that intention. And continue your nice, long, steady breaths. And then gently lower your hands back to your thighs. Take a couple more rounds of nice, long, slow breaths. Allowing the full transition from our pre-yoga into our yoga practice here. Take one last long inhale up. And then gently let it all out. And then gently open your eyes. And relax. And we're going to start today standing up. And if you have a block or a book or anything a chair works, anything you can put in front of yourself here for this next pose. And what we're looking for is something, we're going to do some forward folds, so we're going to be looking to have your hands come down to something. If you don't have anything to put your hands on, that's fine. You're going to just let your hands come down to your shins. So let's start standing up for Tadasana. Your feet can be anywhere. Your toes could be together. Maybe your feet are hip width apart. It's nice if you can get your legs as parallel, your feet as parallel as possible. Show you my feet, right? We're not looking, we prefer not to have feet like this. I want to turn them in a little bit, right? And that's gonna, maybe you can only get here, but we're sort of searching for this, parallel feet. But not everybody's gonna get there, so get to as close as that as you can. Have something in front of you, chair, block, blankets, whatever. And then come to a nice standing pose. You're going to press your feet into the mat and close your eyes for a moment. And just feel your feet pressing into the mat and lift your toes up off the mat for a moment and feel the parts of your feet that engage with the mat when you lift your toes. Those are the bottoms of your feet. You really want to think about pressing those parts of your feet into the mat. all the time, really is sort of throughout your yoga practice. And then you can lower your toes back to the mat. And what we're really looking for is to not be gripping the mat with your toes. You want the feet to be doing the work. The toes are there, but they're just along for the ride. You're going to try not to get them too fully engaged. So you're standing up nice and tall. You open your eyes back up, standing there. Come back to your breath, nice and steady. We're in Tadasana. And as you're in Tadasana, you're pressing your feet, your ball, especially focus on the ball, pressing the ball of your feet into the mat. And as you do that, lift up your thighs a little bit. Feel the muscles engage as you press the feet, lift the thighs. The belly's gonna kind of tuck in a little bit as you engage those thighs. You're gonna get a little bit of a lift. You might even feel it a little bit arching in the back. Stand up nice and tall. Inhale your arms up straight. Steady breath. So we're just doing some gentle warm-ups here as we start to get going. Keep reaching up towards the ceiling, reaching, spinning the arms. So really see if you can spin your arms around, right, so that your biceps face behind you. And you can reach it just a little bit further up out of the shoulders. And then bring your arms back to your sides. Back to Tadasana. And then again, from here, we'll do a series of inhales as the arms come up, and then we'll forward fold. So, inhale up. And then as you exhale, I want you to bend your knees, fold at the waist. Fold at the waist, really letting the knees be as bent as you need them to be. Folding down, letting your arms come down to, if you have a block, that's great. Could be a chair, maybe a little higher. Maybe you have to bring your hands to your shins. Keep a little slight bend in your knees. Let the head roll forward, letting the head drop. And then on an inhale, press your feet into the mat, keeping the knees bent, inhaling all the way up, bringing the arms back up towards the ceiling, and releasing back to the sides. Okay. We're going to do that 5 times. Ready? Inhale up. Exhale, forward fold, knees bent, coming all the way down, letting the head drop. Inhale all the way back up. Back to Tadasana. Again, inhale up. Forward fold, bending at the knees. Letting the head drop. Exhaling all the way up. Inhale back up. Back to Tadasana. Again, inhale up. Forward fold. Inhale back up. 2 more times on your own pace here. Whatever's the right pace for you. Inhale up. Exhale, fold. Knees bent. Inhale back up. Back to Tadasana. Last time. Inhale up. Exhale, fold at the waist, coming all the way down, letting the head drop. And then inhale back up. And back to Tadasana. Okay. Now, move this out of the way. So we're going to do chair pose. And we do that a few times here. So, start with your feet about hip width apart. Feet parallel, similar standing position. And we're going to do chair pose a few different ways here. And the first, we're going to do it a few times, and we're just going to sort of get into the rhythm so that we bend our knees as we inhale our arms up, and we make that one motion. So we're in Tadasana, standing pose, arms by our sides. And then on the inhale, we're going to start to sink our hips, bend our knees, and raise our arms. And we keep going until we can't sink our hips anymore, keeping our chest lifted and our arms extended. And then press the feet into the mat and come back to Tadasana. We'll do that again. So it's one motion. Inhale, sink the hips. Exhale, back to standing. Again, inhale, sink the hips. Exhale, back to standing. One more time. Inhale, sink the hips. Exhale, back to standing. And now for this chair pose, we're going to hold it. So this time we'll come into our inhale, bend our knees, and then we're going to stay there for about 5 breaths. So we're going to inhale, sink the hips, raise the hands, extend the arms. Steady breath. So your hips are back towards your heel, the weight is towards your heels. Each inhale, reach with the fingers a little higher, keep the chest lifted, gaze between the hands. 2 more breaths. At the end of the last one, press the feet into the mat, lower the arms back by your sides, back to standing. All right, and then we're going to do chair pose one more time. We're going to come into chair pose. We're going to add a little twist to it. So we inhale into chair. Bring our palms together at our heart center, keeping our chest lifted a bit, keeping the hips back. And then we turn. Now, we're going, so one way you can do this twist, you can bring the elbow to the outside of your thigh. So this is right elbow to left thigh. And we keep our palms together, we rotate around, giving ourselves a little bit of a twist. That's one approach. That might be too much for you. So another way will be to come on down. So you're coming into chair, bring your palms together, right? And then maybe just bring your right arm to the outside of your left thigh, and maybe bring your left hand to the back body and twist this way. So either one of those is fine. And we'll come into that pose and hold it for several breaths. So inhale to chair, palms together. Inhale. Exhale, rotate to the right, bringing the right elbow to the outside left thigh, or the right arm to the outside, either one. Let the head turn a bit to the right, to the left. Now, be careful. We don't want to twist in our knees, right? So your legs want to stay straight. So if to twist, you're sort of twisting your knees around. You don't want to do that, right? You want to keep those knees fairly straight. Let the breath be steady. One more breath. And then come back to center. Press your feet. Come back to standing. And then again, inhale to chair. Palms together. Other side. Left elbow. Or left arm. Either one. Letting the twist happen. Turning to the right. Steady breath. Last breath. Hands back to your heart center. Stand up. Release the arms. And shake it out. Okay, so that's a lot of chair pose, but it's really good work for your thighs and hips. All right, so if you have a block or something that we use for our forward folds, we're going to use that again. And so we bring our feet back to our parallel position. Stand up nice and tall, come to our nice Tadasana standing pose. Inhale the arms up. And then exhale, forward fold, bending the knees, letting the hands come down to the block, letting the head drop. And we're going to stay here for just a couple rounds of breath. And as you're in this pose, maybe you can find a little bit of lengthening in the hamstrings and the back of the thighs. Maybe pressing the knees a little bit back, trying to straighten the knees just ever so much. Finding the sensation points in your body. One more breath. And then roll all the way back up, nice and slow, one vertebrae at a time, back to standing. Keeping the feet exactly where they are, inhale the arms up. And then exhale, let the arms come out to the sides, palms up. Steady breath. And we'll just do some arm work here. So we're going to start by bringing the arms back up overhead, interlacing the fingers and point the index fingers. And then on an inhale, press the feet into the mat, straighten the legs, reach with the index finger as high as you can. And then as you exhale, bend towards the right, letting the left side body stretch. Feel whatever you're going to feel across the left side of the body as you let the right side tip however much you can. How much you bend doesn't matter. It's whatever your body's going to let you do. All right? You want to keep your ears between your arms. Keeping the feet strong. Keep pressing with the feet into the mat. Don't let the feet go soft. So you're keeping your strength in your legs as you're bending to the side. One more breath here. And then come back to center. Switch the interlace of your fingers, keeping the index fingers pointed. And then again, on an inhale, press the feet, reach with the index fingers. And then exhale, bend at the waist. Keeping the feet strong, legs strong. And just being aware of how one side feels relative to the other. Without judgment, just observing the body. Each breath, see if you can fill up the side body with air. Each exhale, see if you can find a little more space to open up to the side. One more breath here. And then inhale back to center. And bring the arms back out to the sides, palms up. And then from here, arms are straight out, palms up. See if you can rotate the arms any amount so that the thumbs rotate towards the floor as you pull your arms back a little bit, opening the chest, letting the gaze go up towards the ceiling. And I want you to pay attention. What we don't want to do is let the knees come out forward, let the hips come out forward so that we're doing this. This is not the pose we're looking for, right? So we're keeping our legs straight, our hips are over our ankles. We're really just opening the upper back area, squeezing the shoulder blades towards each other as we pull our arms back, letting the gaze go up towards the ceiling, letting the neck relax. And then come back to center. And then bend your elbows so your arms are in goddess arms. Your elbows are more or less something close to a right angle. And then on an inhale, take a big inhale. On the exhale, pull the elbows back, squeeze the shoulder blades together. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Pull the elbows back. And then relax. Let the arms come back out to the sides. Take a big inhale. And as you exhale, bring the right arm under the left, crossing at the elbows, bringing the palms together. And then on an inhale, press the feet into the mat and lift the elbows up any amount you can. One more breath here. Keep lifting the elbows. And then on the exhale, release the arms back out to the sides, palms up. Take a big inhale. Exhale, arms the other way, left under right, crossing at the elbows, palms together. So anything that looks like these arms is what you're seeking. Some people will be able to bring the palms together completely and release their fingers. Others will look like me. Other people won't be able to get this far, so you might just be like this. That's fine. Inhale, press the feet into the mat, lift the elbows. One more breath. And then exhale, let the arms come back out to the sides. Inhale the arms up. And then lower the arms back to the sides. Shake them out. Shake your legs and relax. Okay. So, next pose, we're going to do a high lunge. And we'll do this high lunge a couple ways. So for a high lunge, just to refresh, our legs are parallel, our feet are parallel, and our back leg, we're going to be on the ball of our foot and our toes. And you want to find two things. One, you want to find enough width between your feet so that you can be stable, right? So if your feet are narrow, that's fine. Hip width apart is about what you want to be, right? But for some people, this can be very hard to balance, and so you can balance better by making your feet wider apart, and it gives you more space to cover. Whatever you're comfortable. The next thing is to find the right length, and the right length is going to be, you want to be able to bend your front leg, your front knee, and get that knee as close to directly over the ankle. You don't want to be too far ahead, and you don't want to be too far back. You want to have that knee pretty much over the ankle. This leg is going to be straight. We'll start with our hands on our hips. Okay, so come into this pose. Take an inhale. And then as you exhale, sink the hips any amount you can, right? Keeping this back leg straight, bending the front knee a little bit, bringing your hands to your heart center. And then inhale the arms up and sink the hips. Inhale up, sink the hips. Inhale up, sink the hips. And then bring your palms to your heart center. We're going to twist, just like we did before in chair pose, only, again, you may tuck your elbow or you may just do your arms. So you're going to come down twisting, bringing the left elbow to the outside or just the arm. Either way, you want to twist a little bit to the right. You breathe in, rotate on the exhale. And then come back to center, arms to your heart center first, hands to your hips, And then take an inhale and bring your weight forward, stepping back to standing. That was a lot of work. Other side. So again, we step our right foot back, come onto the ball of our foot. We want to find the right width for balance and the right length so that our knee is over our ankle, hands on our hips, hands to your heart center, steady breath. Inhale the arms up. Nice and steady breathing here. Hands back to your heart center. And we'll twist the other way. So right elbow outside of left thigh. Palms together. Rotate around the spine, whatever amount you can. And again, right, this twist is going to be fun as well. Right? You do what's right for your body at all times. Right? You don't do things that don't feel right. Steady breath. One more breath. And then come back to center. Hands to your hips. Inhale. Step back to standing. All right. So, we will, next pose, we will do another kind of hip opening, leg strengthening pose. Start with your feet a little wider than your hips. Maybe even a little wider than your shoulders. Feet are turned out a little bit. And we start here by taking a moment, stand up nice and tall. And then we're going to bend our knees. Now, as you start to bend your knees, you want your knees coming out over your toes. So, pay attention to that. If your knees are your toes, you might need to rotate your legs out a little bit, or maybe inward a little bit, right? But that's your starting point, right? You want the knees going out over the toes. Your hips are going to drop. You're going to drop your hips down, hands come to your thighs. Lift your chest up. Keep the chest up. Keep the gaze up. So, it might be that this is as far as you can go on this pose, right? And it doesn't matter. You're working your thighs here pretty well. So, lots of good stuff going on. Maybe you can sink your hips a little bit lower and you can bring your elbows to your thighs, keeping the chest up. All right? And then, maybe you can come down a little bit lower. Right? Maybe you can bring your elbows to the inside of your knees, palms together. Right? And maybe this is as far as you get. Or maybe you can come all the way down, sinking the hips down, lifting the chest up, right? Into full Malasana. But it doesn't really matter where you ended up, right? We're going to stay here for a few breaths, nice and steady. Two more breaths here. And then wherever you are, to come up, you're going to take an inhale and press your feet into the mat. Straighten the legs coming all the way up. And release. Shake out the legs. All right. We will come into Tadasana. Although this time, didn't really matter, I was facing the camera here. We're going to go from Tadasana into plank. So I'm going to do my Tadasana facing this way. Actually, I'll do it this way. And hands by your sides. Feet are strong, feet are parallel. Lift the toes sort of get the feet engaged. Inhale the arms up. And this time we're going to bend our knees forward, folding, coming all the way down, bringing the hands to the mat. We're going to step right into plank pose. Steady breath. Shoulders over your wrists. Fingers spread. Heels pressing towards the room wall behind you. Crown of the head lifting forward. Thighs are rotating inward. Toes are strong. Steady breath. And then pressing back to down dog. Bending the knees, lifting the hips up. Steady breath. Inhaling, coming back to plank. Lower the knees, point the toes. Bring the chest forward, lowering down. First the belly, coming all the way forward. Hands don't move. Hands are right by the low ribs. And then we'll inhale, pressing to upward dog. You can either keep your legs down or lift up. And then from up dog, we're going to go back to down dog. So we come back into down dog, bend the knees a little bit, lift the hips up and back. We'll do that again. Plank, lower down. Inhale to upward dog, back to down dog. Going to do 5 long breaths here. And then, the end of the last breath, lower the knees, spread the knees wide, toes together, and come into child's pose for just a moment. Arms by your side, head resting down. If this pose is hard, feel free to grab a block or a blanket to bring your forehead to. That takes a little bit of the stress out of the pose if it's hard. And then come on up out of your child's pose. Move the block away if it's there. Come forward, place your hands back into down dog hands position. Curl the toes under. Come back to down dog. So again, we're going to take some breaths here and then inhale the right leg up. And then as you exhale, come forward, squeezing the elbows in, bringing the knee towards the chin. And then inhaling the leg back up. And then exhaling, bringing the chest forward, bringing the right elbow towards the right knee. Inhaling back up. And then exhaling, bringing the right knee over towards the left elbow. Inhaling back up. Opening up, this is for sort of a 3-legged dog, letting the right leg fall to the left a little bit. And then lower the left leg down. And come to child's pose. Just for a moment. And then again, come on back up, reach the hands forward, come back to down dog. And then reach the left leg up and back. As you exhale, bring the left knee forward towards the chin, pulling the chest forward, inhaling back. Exhale, squeeze the elbows, left knee to left elbow. Inhale up. Again. Exhale, left knee to right elbow. Inhaling back up, opening to the right side. And lower the left foot. And lower down. Come back to child's pose. And then again, come on back up. Once again, reach the arms forward, fingers spread. We're going to go back into down dog. So curl the toes under, press back to down dog. Reach the right foot up and back. And then exhale, step it all the way through. We're going to come to a low lunge. So back toes point straight back. Right knee over right ankle. Hands to your heart center. Inhale the arms up. So you're lifting up out of your hips. You're pressing your feet into the mat. Let your gaze go up between your hands. Press the palms together. Hands back to your heart center. And bring the hands back to the mat. Curl the toes. Step back to down dog. Inhale the left leg up and back. And then exhale, step it all the way through. Coming to a low lunge. Back toes point straight back. Hands to your heart center. Feet are strong. Both feet are pressing into the mat. Lift up out of the hips. Inhale the arms up. Steady breath. Maybe let the gaze go up between your hands. Maybe press the palms together. Hands back to your heart center. Hands back to the mat. Curl the toes under. And back to down dog. We're going to do 5 long breaths here. Keep the knees soft. Keep pressing with the hands, lifting the hips up and back. And then last breath. And then bend the knees. Come back down to child's pose. Hands back by your side. And then gently come on back up. And we are going to come onto our back here. And lie down with your knees bent. Arms by your side, palms up. Take a few breaths just here. Now walk your feet in as close to your hips as you can. Keep the feet parallel. Keep the arms pressing down into the mat, and then pressing with the feet, lift the hips up off the mat. Coming into bridge pose. So we start gentle, just lifting the hips a little bit. We really are trying to find as much energy coming up out of these hips here, these hip flexors, as you can generate. And you can intensify the pose a little bit. You can walk your shoulder blades under a little bit, bringing the arms a little bit closer to the side body. Maybe you can even grab your hands and interlace them, but you don't have to. And then continue to press with the feet and lift with the hips up. You can even experiment. You can try bringing your heels off the mat. Lift up with the toes. Press with the hips a little bit higher. See how that releases your ability. And then maybe try pressing those heels back down. Can you keep any of that lift? Maybe do that again. Lift the heels, press with the toes, lift up. Press the heels back down. And release the hands. Let the hips come back down to the mat. And you can bring the knees into the chest a little bit. Rock back and forth. And then take both hands to the left knee and extend the right leg out straight. And pull the left knee towards your left shoulder. Steady breath. And then bring the right knee back in. Rock back and forth for a moment, and then grab the right knee with both hands, extend the left leg out straight. Pressing that left leg down into the mat, pull the right knee towards your right shoulder. Taking some deep, long breaths here. In this pose, you just need to move the knee a little bit to feel different sensations within the hip. You might just move it around, feel where you feel things. And then bring the left knee back in, rock back and forth a little bit. And then you're going to do happy babies. You're going to reach between your thighs, grab the outside of your feet, and this may be a struggle for you, so you might just be grabbing your legs, right? It really is going to depend. You can grab your ankles. It's nice if you can grab the bottoms of your feet. And you start by rocking back and forth just a little bit. And then we'll go through a series where we're going to inhale. On the inhale, we press our feet up towards the ceiling to start. On the exhale, we're going to pull with our right hand, our right foot down, pressing the right knee down towards our armpit a bit. Anywhere down towards the floor. And then inhale, the legs go back up. As you exhale, this time you're going to pull the left foot down towards your armpit. Pull the left foot, press the knee towards your armpit. Inhale back up. And alternate on your breath. So each breath you're going to inhale, pressing the feet up. Exhale, press the right knee. Press the right foot, press the knee down towards the right armpit. Inhale back up. Exhale, pull the left foot, press the left knee down towards the floor, towards the armpit. And just rock back and forth, doing it on your breath. Couple more breaths. Last time. And then release the feet. Let the feet come back to the mat. Bring your arms out to your sides. Have your feet together, knees together. Take an inhale. As you exhale, rotate completely onto the side, letting the knees drop, keeping the feet together. And then inhale to center. Exhale, let the knees drop the other way. Let's do a few rounds of this. So you're inhaling to center, exhaling, letting the knees drop, keeping the feet and the knees and the legs all pressing to each other. It's a gentle twist. Couple more rounds. Last round. Inhale to center, drop the knees to the right. Back to center, drop the knees to the left. And then back to center. Bring your arms to your sides. Grab anything you want for Shavasana. As you extend your legs out straight. Let your arms be by your sides. And just take a moment here. Check in with the body. Check in with the mind. How are you feeling physically, mentally? We worked hard today. Feel the effects. Let the body know that the effort time is over. This is rest and recovery. It's time for Shavasana. Let your breath release a little bit, moving back to a little more of an unconscious breathing. Let your eyes soften. Maybe even bring a little smile to your face just to relax the face muscles. And just do a little bit of a body scan, working your way down, just noticing, bringing relaxation and softening to the belly, through the hips, letting the legs really completely relax. There's no effort required here. Let the eyes soften. Let the pull of gravity down onto the mat really pull you down and hold you in place. As we enter a few minutes of quiet, of stillness, of Shavasana. can begin to bring a little motion back into the body, moving the fingers, the toes, the nose, maybe your lips, giving the body a gentle restoration from your Shavasana. Keeping your eyes closed at your own pace. Make your way onto your right side with your knees bent. Taking a moment, pausing there. And then again, keeping your eyes closed. Slowly make your way back to a seated position. Sitting up nice and tall, a long spine. Eyes are closed. We return to the pose we began our practice with today. And bring your palms together at your heart center. Take a moment here, acknowledge the intention that you set at the beginning of your practice. Bring love and gratitude into your heart. Namaste. Thank you for joining me today for this Gentle Yoga Flow. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you continue to support the JCC online mindfulness programs, and I hope to see you again in another couple weeks. Have a good couple weeks, and we'll see you then. Thank you. Be well.